So as y'all seen earlier today, I am now a member of Everytown. I made a pledge to them, which I'll show you in just a second. What they don't know is what I made a pledge to. That's my son. They don't understand that the very laws they push kill people. They're responsible for the death of my son. Period. If you haven't watched the videos I made, one of them I talked about it in my gift to you a little bit. The first video I did on it was on November 23rd, 2019, on my son's death. That's what I meant. So I'm going to see how far I can take this. I mean, if I don't understand why people think they have the right to tell other people how they can live. Do you think they fat bitches would like it if I told them they couldn't have their Big Macs? No, I wouldn't tell them they couldn't have their Big Macs. Even though their Big Macs could kill other people, I mean, their stomachs could get caught in the steering wheel or some shit going around the corner, and over on the other side of the road they go and they kill somebody. So let's ban Big Macs. Let's ban Ford cars. And those aren't even rights. I was just on the phone with somebody talking about the direction our country is now going in, and we took a drastic turn with what happened with Texas and the Supreme Court. I don't have any faith in the election. I never have had any faith in the election process. What I do know is that if I had casted a ballot and there was a ballot that negated my ballot because it was illegal, or my ballot was changed, or my ballot was tossed in the trash, that should be enough for the Supreme Court, in my eyes, to at least hear the evidence of a case, to hear a case. These so-called conservative judges that Trump was putting in, excuse me, didn't do anything y'all said he was. I called it then. If you go back and look, I just said they're doing the same thing he did. They say they're Republicans. They say they're conservatives. But look what they're doing. They had the perfect opportunity to hear a Second Amendment case today. First time in, 10 years? Well, probably more than that. They turned it away. Or I forget what it's called. They turned it down. They're not going to hear it. There's one coming up in January. A female. I think she had a tax, like some kind of tax case. And she was convicted of a felony, and they put her on a prohibited persons list. And they're taking it all the way to the Supreme Court. There's a lawyer out of Washington, D.C. that took on the case, and I emailed him. And I said, look, I'm not a nutcase, and I would appreciate if you just read this, Just read it and let me know you read it. You ain't got to answer me anything other than that. I just want to know that you read this, because there's some things here that has never been brought up in front of the Supreme Court that I know of, and I've read a lot of the Supreme Court's rulings. I've watched a lot of their oral arguments. I'm sorry. So I just went through and told him, and I explained to him about rights and what rights actually are, and how the government has no authority over rights. I said, I would give anything for 5 minutes in front of that Supreme Court, those judges. Just 5 minutes. Told him, I said, tell them to tell you where in the Constitution the people gave authority over rights to them. We didn't. But they want to convince you that they have that authority. And if they can't convince you through telling you, they'll convince you through threats of force. And then if they can't convince you through the threats of force, they'll act out on that force. There's been a lot of people die in this country. A lot of people lose their freedom. Not because they did anything wrong. It's because the government said no. That's it. Look at the case that just got turned down. A guy had 2 DUIs, and it put him under the federal ban, or the federal prohibited persons list. He had a DUI in 2003, I think, and in 2010. In 2017, the feds raided his home. found firearms, charged him. He didn't commit any crimes. Wasn't a violent person any time in his life. He had a couple of DUIs. So I'm not saying, I'm not minimizing the DUIs. You know, you shouldn't drink and drive. But he never intentionally went after people in a violent manner. And even if he did, he still has the right to keep and bear arms. But where's the logic? There is none. There's no logic. There was never meant to be logic. Government, whether that be the Supreme Court, the President, Congress, doesn't matter. It's all one animal. Sorry, noise, sorry. It's all one animal. And until people figure that out, we lose. I will never beat them on my own. I can make all the videos in the world, sit here and talk to this camera. Anytime something's on my mind, I will never beat them on my own. And my goal is not to necessarily beat them. I just want them to operate within the restrictions I have placed on them. You know, the Constitution is an individual document. It's my restriction on government. It's also your restriction on government. And it's also Joe Bob's restriction on government. But it's collectively our restrictions on government. I doubt very seriously any of those people trying to go to the Supreme Court with the right to bear arms case gave government permission to restrict their rights. And even if they wanted to, they couldn't. You can't give your rights away. You can choose to not exercise your rights, but you still have the right. We're living in scary times, man, you know. The person I was talking on the phone to, you know, he said, I've always had a pretty good gut on me. Get a gut feeling. And your gut feeling tells you what to or to not do. A long time ago when I was a little piece of shit, we would, we drive for sometimes 7 or 8 hours. If we got there, somebody had a bad feeling. Didn't matter. We'd leave. I can't tell you how many times my gut feeling has saved me. Or my buddy's gut feeling has saved us. And I've had that feeling for weeks. Don't know why. I'm not doing anything wrong, whether, you know, other than talking to the camera. It's what they may consider to be wrong. Maybe it's everything that's going on with the country. Maybe, yeah, I can feel it's all about to fall apart. You know, what happens if states start succeeding? What are you going to do? I'm in Ohio. It's supposedly a red state, but it's behind enemy lines. Mike DeWine is in my eyes, he's a socialist. Same with Trump. Trump's a socialist Democrat. He always was. He just decided to put an R before his name and tell you all the 8-year assault on the Second Amendment's over. And then he signs 3 times as much shit violate the Constitution against the Second Amendment as Barack Obama did. But people still praise him. I just watched a video from Coda Boy 32, man. Like, you know, you can only hope people wake up for so long until you got to give up on them. I'd watched that man since I think he had less than 30,000 subscribers, I want to say. I was the third member he had on Patreon. Like, I was a supporter of him, a real supporter. And I've told him everything I've told you all. I've even taken it further and copied and pasted everything where it's at the Constitution. He don't care. He's still a constitutional rights, back the blue, the good ones, you know, the good ones. They're just blind. They got blinders onto the world, man. I swear they do. This video tonight was complaining about in Long Island, arresting the bar owners, and down there in North Carolina, they're now on a lockdown. So he's bitching because they're arresting the restaurant owner or giving her a ticket or something. Hell, I don't know. I could be wrong about that. It has something to do with North Carolina. And he was still supporting the blue. What he fails to see is that he said, I'm not talking about the ones that would walk into that restaurant and arrest that lady or shut her down or whatever. My first thought is, if there's a force, and there's 30 people in that force, and 3 of them go to commit an unconstitutional act, you telling me the other 27 couldn't stop them? They could. They don't want to. The police's loyalty is to the political state. That is what their oath is for. That's what their oath is to. Thinking that the police, or the government for that matter, will take an oath to the Constitution is like thinking that a criminal will take an oath to state law. Same thing. Exactly the same thing. States start succeeding, it could get really nasty, because what you have is you have a new country, and it's telling where what states will do what initially. In the end, there'll be war. People will die. It's not going to be good. I don't want to see people harmed. People can do that rah-rah Civil War shit all they want. War's a nasty thing. I've never seen war. But I have seen a few gunshot wounds in my time, and they're not pretty. Especially when they don't make it. I think we have a really rough road ahead of us, and we're about to really start feeling it. January 20th is the date. What happens if this is still in court? The Supreme Court decides that Nancy Pelosi is now president. It could get really interesting then, huh? They drag it out for a year. By that time, Biden's senile. Kamala Harris is now president for 3 terms, because she could take over the president's term, then serve 2 terms of her own. It's over, folks. We lost it. And we did it because of fear. We will never get this country back anywhere close to what it's supposed to be, no matter what happens. Because even if, let's say, Texas succeeds, whatever their constitution is going to be, it's going to be off of the norm right now. Maybe not the lockdowns, but everything else will be the same. You'll never have rights like you're supposed to. I just personally don't get it. Like, I don't want anything more than to be free and for my kids to be free. And just to be left alone. Like, we don't bother nobody. Never going to bother nobody. But by God, we get bothered a lot. I just don't understand it. Maybe it's my pay grade, I don't know. But y'all have a good evening. I took the raffle video down before anybody raffled, because come to find out, it is illegal in Ohio to have a raffle unless you're a charitable organization, a licensed charitable organization. So we'll probably do it a different way. I'm still going to take donations. If y'all want to donate, help somebody out, we can do that. It's not illegal. I just don't need them coming to kick my door in, killing my sister's dog, risking my kids' lives over a raffle. And then do some dumb shit like that too, just cause. But I'll leave my PayPal, my Cash App in the description of this video. If y'all want to donate, you can. I'll make sure it goes to a good place. I'll make sure that it goes where it needs to go. can't even have a fucking raffle without some kind of license. Land of the free, right?